Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rockin' Review is so pleased to bring you country music singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, Callista Clark. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. It's so nice to have you on the show after listening to your new album, Real to Me. And I'm really, you've got so many different sounds in there with guitar and everything, but probably my favorite is your piano-based song.
Yes. Don't need it anymore. Yeah, I feel like with each song, they all have their own little personality in a way. And with that one, it's definitely the more haunting, just kind of intense one out of the whole group. So yeah, I'm glad you picked up on the whole piano thing.
Well, and your voice is so mature, and I know you get this a lot, that, to where, when you listen, if I hadn't seen your picture or anything, I would have assumed you were like in your 20s or 30s. And so it's like going, oh my gosh, what a mature voice.
Well, thank you. I've been singing ever since I could talk, and sometimes I say I'm better at that than I am talking. So yeah, it's definitely just something I've done my whole life and just really comfortable with it,
Well, I got to bring this up too, Callista, to where you started singing in church also because your grandfather is a pastor. But, I've heard that you would kind of hide behind the microphone so that people couldn't see you.
Oh, for dear life. And it is a tiny church. I mean, there was probably 10 people there, and I was, 3, really small. And the microphone had the little puff cover, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah,
if I held it up, it would cover my entire face. So it worked out for me that I felt like they couldn't see me, but they definitely could, just going like this,
Just trying to hide behind. But I got to ask you this, obviously pursuing a career in music, but you were like painfully shy. How did you make the transition?
Well, I've always been shy and more reserved, and I am still now, but I like to think it's just more so me always thinking and trying to be creative and just, always trying to learn about whatever it is. And, but yeah, I was really shy. I didn't talk in school until I was in about 2nd grade. And the only place I played was at my church. And then I started doing things with my siblings, just easing me into it a little. And, then as they got older, they kind of didn't want to do it as much. But I really feel like I couldn't have done it if it wouldn't have happened that way, because they helped me get on the stage and just learn how to be more comfortable with that. And it all went from there. And here I am now. So I had to keep doing it to get used to it.
Well, and I think that's so incredible because once again, I think it's like facing your fears and going out there and doing it, particularly though with your craft. You started writing songs at only 11, and I know it was from, your mother giving you support, and you started with poetry, right?
Yes. So that was actually a poetry contest in school, and I'd always loved writing the most out of anything in school, and it just felt natural to me as well, but I never connected it with songwriting, even though my mom, she was the first person I ever wrote a song with. And it was, we would do stuff for church and do Christian songs, and she would write, and because we all led worship at church.
Right.
And yeah, it just kind of happened. I had to ease myself into that too, I guess, because it was such a hard thing for me to think about, opening my heart to these people that I don't know. And I'm so shy, but it's something that I've definitely gotten over the years.
Well, I got to bring this up too, Callista, where it sounds like a fairy tale. I mean, like it's made up, but you were discovered by, a cover song of CCR that was on YouTube that now is up to over 27 million views. Tell me how this happened.
So I had been posting videos on my socials for a little while, and, it was just for fun. And this one, I was at the beach, and my granddad, the same one who's the pastor of my church, he said, you should bring back some CCR. And that was the kind of music that I always did with my siblings when we would go other places in my hometown they had an older crowd. So my mom was very smart to say that we should learn the things that they wanted to hear and they wanted to listen to and that they knew. So then I didn't know any different growing up. I either sang Christian music or that was it. Like I didn't listen to pop or anything. And so that's really the reason why I chose that song and the reason why my collection sounds the way it does now. But we were at the beach and I just started picking the chords and I was like, oh, I think this is right. I don't know. I didn't expect anything of this video. I didn't brush my hair or anything. and we just posted it and it started going like this. And we didn't know what was happening. I had never had anything do anything like that, except for there was another video of mine that got around 100,000 views, and we freaked out over that.
Yeah.
So when it started happening and it has 28 million views, yeah, we did not know what to do. And that's how my manager, Scooter, and his partner, Allison Kay, met me. I got to fly out and meet them the next week. And the next week, yeah, it was insane. And then he introduced me to Scott when I was 14, and I started working with Big Machine.
It's just kind of, once again, it never happens, but you're so fortunate, that they saw the talent in you. And I got to bring this up to you also, though. Suddenly at 15, you're writing with a few big name songwriters here in Nashville.
Yeah. The very first co-write I ever had, or maybe it was my second, but one of the very first was actually Real to Me. And I went in and not knowing what I was doing with Laura Veltz and Casey Brown, two huge, amazing songwriters in Nashville, at 15 years old. And I just said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to let them in. I'm going to be open. I'm going to tell them what I'm feeling, just so we can get something really good and honest. And that was the biggest goal of mine. And I was just telling them what I was going through at the time. And that was that I felt so misunderstood in the industry, or just being a young girl in general. And I had people telling me that what I was feeling wasn't real yet because I was so young. And I wanted to write something to say that if you're feeling that way, I just wanted to tell you that it is real. If you are feeling something in your core, then it's real no matter how old or young you are. Right. And so that was a really big goal of mine with that one, just to write something that anybody could relate to, no matter your age.
Well, and that's what I noticed also listening to your album again, as I was before we did the interview. And it's like the depth of the lyrics, in all of the songs. And honestly, Real to Me, I can see that definitely appealing to more, younger women and everything. But a lot of the topics you're dealing with within the Real to Me, EP, that can apply to anybody at any age. And I think that's pretty impressive, with that level of maturity, with this being your debut.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a really big goal of mine, for the sound to be able to feel like it was classic and on a record, and for the lyrics to be equal to that, just be mature and real and honest. And I think that's a great way to introduce myself with It's Because I Am, even though it's more sassy. It's a great way to say, hi, let's get to know each other just a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, totally. Well, and also your range. I mean, I noticed in some of the songs too, to where, where you were starting out, and all of a sudden you would hit the high notes. I'm like going, okay, well, those are some serious notes.
Thank you. Yeah, those were really fun to cut. I went in with my producer, Nathan Chapman, and with, COVID and everything, it was just me and him and the sound engineer in there. So it wasn't the typical recording day. And we had so much fun because he could just say, okay, try this. We'll sing this from top to bottom and do any ad libs you want to do. Just go crazy. Do anything you hear. And with Real to Me, that's how we did it. Just top to bottom, a couple takes. And I did every single thing I thought of. And he ended up using all of it, like all the ad libs and everything I did. So it was just really fun to let loose and just go for it.
Well, I want to make sure that our viewers, Callista, know where they need to go for your web, for social media, for everything. Also, to check out even your past cover videos if they haven't seen them yet, to get a taste. But they've got to check out this new album. Where should they go?
So all of my socials are under Callista Clark. And my website is CallistaClark.com, and you can find everything and all my merch. And I recently just put out a CD, a physical CD. So I'm super excited about that. And yeah, just let me know what I should do next or anything you're looking for.
Well, maybe it's just me, but having listened to your new album a number of times, I think it might lend itself to vinyl even, maybe this year.
I think that's something that's a really big goal of mine, is for it to sound like it, could be on a vinyl and classic. So that might have to be something I look into doing next, whether it's this or the full record or whatever, but that's definitely a goal of mine.
Well, I got to tell you, it's a great album. Congratulations. Real to Me is out now, and I want to make sure that our viewers, whether you buy a physical copy, add it to the playlist, you definitely want to buy it and listen to it. And I can't wait to see more great music coming from you. Callista Clark, thank you so much for coming on the Rock and Review.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.